Hi, my name's Dr. Richard Shaughnessy. I'm principal investigator for the study, and we're very happy to have you to be part of the study. You are critical to the success of what we're trying to do. Without going into the entire study, let me just explain. What we're trying to do is get biocontamination levels on surfaces within an airport that are high touch, high contact surfaces. So you might think of doorknobs and stairwell handles and etc. Anyway, it's never been done before in an airport. We're actually going to go on planes. You're going to have escorts to help you with this. And Rich Johnson will be your immediate supervisor, and he'll be filling in the holes. So what this video is intended to do is I'm going to give you a brief kind of overview of the study and some points that will be, again and again, they will be repeated. But I need you to pay close attention and take notes as you watch the video. Again, this is a groundbreaking study. It's not been done before, and we're relying on your expertise and ability to take the samples and provide that data, fill in the data sheets properly, so that we get results that are necessary. In the end, we'll be taking thousands of samples with your help, and so we're looking forward to it. A few things, kind of overview, that are just fundamental principles of the study. I need you in the field. You'll be working in teams of two to be consistent, work together. If you have a problem working with your partner, again, you have to talk to your supervisor there, Rich Johnson, and we'll rearrange that. But your data is only as good as your team, both of you, can provide and work together. So make sure you follow the information as best you can. And if you have any questions throughout, don't guess at the answers. Call Rich Johnson again, and he will explain anything. If you're on site and you don't know about a certain surface, he'll be able to give you that answer. And ultimately, I'll be advising him as well. I need you to be thorough. Make sure you're taking the samples properly and you're recording the data properly. I need you to be responsible and dependable. I mean, a team, again, it's only as good as the two of you working together. And if one shows up late, the one person is on the clock, and meanwhile they're waiting on you. So be sure to be prompt and on time when you're scheduled to be in the airport. So that's really a key. I mean, Rich will be talking to you about that as well. But having to be responsible and dependable, you've got to be there and take the time to do it right. Don't let your partner down. Don't let the study down. The data is only as good as what you collect for us. Take your time, do it right. You've got to be precise. You've got to reproduce what you're doing, be able to replicate what you're doing again and again and again. So make sure you've got it down. It will become easier after a few days, and you'll be able to streamline more. But at the beginning, you're going to have questions. You're going to have some challenges. And again, take your time. If you don't know the answer, get with your supervisor there in Atlanta. If you make a mistake, and so important, don't compound the mistake by another mistake. So all I'm saying here, if you take the data and you're not quite sure that you did it right, hey, start again. Find another surface to begin that sampling on and go from there. by all means, don't continue down a road where you know the data's not going to be representative or good, and that does the study no good whatsoever at all. And actually, it introduces many confounders that we already have to deal with our statisticians at the end of the day. Move down the line as you work as a team. You will become more adept at this, but take your time at the beginning. Make sure you've got it right. Make sure your questions are answered. You're going to be dealing with some very expensive equipment. The monitors that you'll be using cost upwards of $4,000 to $5,000, just a handheld monitor. We can't afford to lose those, so nor can it be dropped. Now, if by chance something does happen and it gets dropped, you need to inform Rich Johnson right away, and we'll intercalibrate and see if there's any damage done, and we'll have to take care of it. But when you're not using the monitor, make sure that it's in a secure place and not on a ledge where it could get knocked over. What samples you're going to be taking, you're probably asking by now. There are two types, and without going into too much, one is called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Many of you are studying sciences right now at the university, and we're glad you're a part of the study. But if you don't know what ATP, adenosine triphosphate, is a measure that we have that can be used to sample, and it will reflect the level of biocontamination on surfaces. So we're going to swab surfaces, put it into a meter, and you'll get ATP in what are called relative light units. All you have to do is record that number and put it in the data sheet. You'll see later in the video how to use those monitors properly. On the viral samples you'll be taking, no one has ever done what we're going to be doing here. As program director of indoor air research at the University of Tulsa for close to 30 years, I can tell you that I've been involved in many aspects, but we've never been able to grab samples in an airport to look at the prevalence of viruses on surfaces. And I don't need to explain to you why we would be doing that now, or why Delta Airlines would be interested in that. Some closing remarks that are important for you, and then the video will follow and follow up on how to use the data sheets. You'll be using iPads. You're going to input the data. It's good to have one person doing the swabbing, another person entering the data. You know, you'll figure it out. You'll work together. But some important things to remember is that the start times for what you're going to be doing will be based on what objective we're working on. We have 4 different objectives, and I'm not going to go into that right now, other than the fact that each involves different types of sampling sets. So you'll pay attention to the data sets, you'll pay attention to what Rich Johnson instructs you on, and it will tell you when the start time is, depending on what area of the airport you're in, or if you're working on an aircraft. And one part of this, it's we have 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B. 2B is where we're actually taking a sample at the beginning of a period of time, and then we're tracking the contamination throughout at least a 4 to 5 hour period. The important thing I want you to remember, sample the area when you're doing that. In the first sample, you'll be taking a pre and post cleaning sample. Rich will explain how that's going to occur. But after you do that, you want to step back and get out of the way, because we do want people to cross through, and we do want people to be able to, those customers and everyone, to then touch the surfaces and do whatever they normally do. So That's very important. Take your sample and get out of the way. Probably when we get to that objective 2B, you'll be more adept at using these things. Another thing, all viral samples, you're going to be taking a swab, and then on the viral samples, you're simply going to swab, break off the top of the Q-tip type sterile swab, put it in a buffer solution. We're then going to ship all the samples back here to the university, and we'll be ultimately analyzing here and with Yale University the virus load related to the samples you collect. Now, it's important on the viral samples that all viral samples are linked to ATP samples. And what I mean by that, if you're taking an ATP swab here on the surface, and then you grab the ATP swab right here, then you're going to want to take your viral swab co-located with that. These two are linked, so just don't take a ATP swab here and then a viral swab somewhere else. Now, this will make sense to you as we get into it, but again, just overarching, the viral and the ATP are interconnected, they are linked, they are paired, and they're co-located in the same proximity. And a couple of last comments. Be super careful on taking the viral samples. What you carry on your hands, you wouldn't imagine what you carry with you, all the viruses and the different types of bacterial and etc. Even fungi that we carry with us that are human-borne. So we want to be very careful about that. You'll be wearing gloves. You don't want to contaminate it, cross-contaminate any surfaces. So be sure to follow those principles very closely. And again, if you have a problem, if you do it wrong, just stop right there and start over again. All right. There is going to be a template area provided to you to where you swab within that area. You don't want to touch the outer part of that area, the template part. You're going to thoroughly swab the surface inside the template, and you'll see that in the video forthcoming. Those are really just some opening remarks, and I can't thank you enough for being part of the study. You're going to see a little bit on the data sampling sheets, how to use the instrument, a little bit on the virus sampling, and a little more information on that. And all of this then will be explained again and again with Rich Johnson. I can't thank you enough for you being part of the study. I look forward to meeting you. I'll be there on several occasions during that period of time, and I'm relying on your help. It's going to be an excellent piece of work, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
For the Delta Airlines project in Atlanta, we're going to be starting on 1A. 1A, you're going to be sampling in 10 aircrafts. You'll have about 20 surfaces per plane. You'll be taking 4 pre-samples and 3 post-ATP samples. You're going to be taking the viral swabs of the yellow highlighted areas that will be highlighted on the iPad. Make sure when you're starting out, you've got all your information that you'll get from your PI who's working with you. So you'll be filling out the location, airport manager, your address, city, and the Wi-Fi password. When you first start, you gotta get the plane ID and all of those. Make sure to put your names and then what day you started and what time you started. So going into goal 1B, you'll be doing the common areas. The common areas, you'll have the lobby, gate, Sky Club, and Sky Zone. You'll be taking 8 pre's and 5 posts of the ATP samples. When you go into viral, again, you'll just be doing the yellow highlighted areas that will be highlighted in the iPad. Make sure you put your name and what time, again, you started. So going into goal 2A, you'll be doing 3 short distance airplanes and 3 long distance airplanes. You'll be taking 8 pre-samples and 8 post-samples of the ATP. This time you won't be doing any viral, so you won't have to worry about that. Again, make sure you fill out all of data that you need. Going into 2B, you'll be sampling at frequency rates. So again, you'll be doing your common areas. You'll be doing the lobby, gates, Sky Club, and Sky Zone. You'll be taking 8 pre's and 8 posts at the beginning. Then you'll go through, clean everything, which you'll have someone doing that for you. And then in 2 hours, you'll come back and take another 2 posts. You'll do that for 4 times every 2 hours. And at the end, you'll clean 1 more time and take 1 last post after it cleaned. You'll again be doing no viral swabs. When going into your sampling protocol, you'll take your 3M machine and you'll just press the power button. When it turns on, you'll come to this home screen. You'll put that aside until you're ready for testing. So when you're sampling, make sure you have your gloves on. You'll take your alcohol cleansing pads so you can cleanse your templates that you're using, just to make sure that we don't have any extra bacteria on there that we don't want to accidentally catch on the swab. You'll do both sides and turn it over. Then you'll take your ATP swab. You'll just grab it like this and pull, making sure not to touch the template. You'll apply pressure towards slightly bending the stick, rotating it at the same time. You'll go horizontal, then vertical, and then diagonal. Once you've gotten your swab, you'll put it back in the tube, just using your thumb, pushing the blue part fully in to where the Q-tip is now in the solution down there. Then you'll shake it for 30 seconds, making sure to keep it upright and vertical. So when you're ready to test your sample that you just took, you'll take your 3M machine and you'll push this little button on the back, which will open up the chamber. There's a little hole in there where you'll then put the swab fully in and you'll close it. Then you'll press Quick Test on the home menu and Start. Then when you get your result, you'll just go ahead and put it into your data sheet. Pre-sample, then you'll have the person with you who's cleaning. You'll just flip the templates up, clean the surface fully with however the cleaning procedure will be going. Flip the templates back over and then take your post the exact same way and then write it in the post column of the data sheet. When you start taking your viral swab, you'll have a small Ziploc bag where you'll have the actual tube itself with the buffer in it, as well as the cotton swabs that you'll be using. So you'll open up the cotton swab and make sure again that you're wearing gloves. You'll then take your buffer and open the small vial and dip the tube into the buffer that you have in there, making sure that it's getting saturated. Then you'll go to your area that you're swabbing and make sure that it's near the ATP sample that you took. So when you're taking sample 1 of viral swab, make sure it corresponds with sample 1 of ATP. So again, you'll just be applying pressure, rotating the swab, going vertical, sideways, and then diagonal, making sure you aren't touching the template. Then you'll take your swab and put it back in the tube with the buffer in it and break off and then just close the tube. And then whatever label you have on the tube, so this is VIR 101, you'll be putting in what sample you took. So if this is sample 1 viral, you'll put in that slot VIR 101.